Hey, your weekly constitutional is a radio program. It's also kind of like school in the car for me in terms of when I'm driving or listening to you on the internet, some information that I'm sure I heard in school about the Constitution and our government, but I don't know where I was that day. This guy's the teacher. This is Stuart Harris. Not only is he a contributor here at News Channel 11, but he's a professor of law at Duncan School of Law at Lincoln Memorial University and host of the aforementioned class, your weekly constitutional. Do you realize? Do you see it that way? You're a teacher.
I kind of do. You can't be too academic on the radio because there's no attendance requirement, right? So we've got to make it a bit more conversational. Precisely, just like the news on television.
Where we've never been accused of being academic.
No, it's great fun.
And you're taking case in point, the Bill of Rights.
Right.
This seemingly simple document.
It's not very long.
We've been talking about for a couple centuries.
Indeed.
And still trying to understand it. And you have a guest who's developed the user's guide.
Isn't that a great idea?
I love that.
A user's guide to the Bill of Rights. It's like the idea of a brief, cogent, easy to understand, single volume that explains what the Bill of Rights is, what it does, how it's developed over the years, and then illustrates that with stories of people who have gone out and used the Bill of Rights to vindicate some extremely important rights.
Linda Monk is your guest.
Right.
Is she the author of a new book, or
yes.
is this a
Actually,
book
she wrote the original version of this book about 25 years ago. But as you know, a lot of things have happened in constitutional law in the last 25 years. So she has updated it, and with new stories and with new cases. It's really, really cool.
Okay, Professor Harris. We have the Constitution.
Right.
James Madison, thank you.
Yes,
Founding
thanks.
Fathers,
Thanks, Jimmy.
And your own first name, but you stayed at his house a few times, so
Absolutely,
you can say that.
yes.
But then you have the Bill of Rights. Who wrote it, and when did that come in tandem with the Constitution?
It came several years later. In fact, there's a whole story there because James Madison and most of the people at the convention didn't think a Bill of Rights was either necessary or desirable. They didn't think it was necessary because we didn't have a king. It was we the people making this Constitution. So we don't need to protect ourselves against ourselves. Jimmy had also separated powers. He said, hey, I got your back, guys. We don't need a Bill of Rights. But other people like George Mason, who'd written the Virginia Declaration of Rights, said, whoa, wait a minute, no Bill of Rights, no ratification. So it became a really big issue during the ratification debates, and eventually Jimmy did a flip-flop, said, got you covered, guys, and he wrote it.
President James Madison.
President James Madison.
Had his hand in that as well. And that is why you, I know, and your weekly constitutional have such deep roots at Montpelier.
Montpelier, yes.
At his home and place that's dedicated to
and
his.
you've been there.
And it's amazing.
And you can attest to how cool it is.
And mind blown. Again, where was I in school that day that we talked about James Madison, little Madison, who had a humongous impact on the world. All right, thanks.
Thank you,
Stuart,
Josh.
good to see you. Hey, a reminder, it's Sunday at 3, Tuesday at 8, your weekly constitutional on WETS FM, this fantastic public radio station. You'll hear at 89.5. Stuart, thanks.
Thank you, Josh.